Okay, is this thing on? Yeah, okay. Well, this is one of my other many long-term projects, and before I show it to you, I just want to let you know that it's going to be another long one. So, there it is. That right there is a 21-foot Clipper Marine sloop, made in 1971. I've had this boat for about 20 years. And for the past 6 years, since I moved to Florida, she's been sitting at a friend's house in Texas. So, I'll give you a quick tour. I just got it back here less than 3 weeks ago. Went out to Texas and took my son out, and we made a trip back and brought the boat back. So, before I start cleaning it and prepping it for all the work that needs to be done, I'm just going to give you a quick tour. Show you all I plan to do on it and all the problems that it currently has, and there are a lot of them. Along with this boat, I also brought back this boat. This boat I built about 15 years ago from scratch. It's all plywood and fiberglass. Bought the trailer for it to put it on, and we put this in the back of a truck and trailered this one. So we'll just start off with the outside. There's the pulpit. There's the main spar, or the mast, as some people like to call it. And all the fiberglass is solid. It just has some blistering in the hull. But you can see up here, I've actually got all the rivets pulled, and the whole top is popped, and the rub rail has been taken off. And if you look up here, you can see where the light was. Deck hardware needs to be all replaced. And you can see where I've done some grinding in the past on some of these blisters and holes. There's the boat winch. You can see the cable is in really bad shape. It's going to have to all be replaced. Missing the handle here. Before I brought it from Texas, I had to replace the lights. So this is just a cheap replacement to get us back. But where the paint had already been taken off, you can see somebody had painted a brown waterline on this. And here's the bottom paint. And I sanded this back earlier, and you can actually see the color of the original waterline and the width of it. And then after the red bottom paint was put on, somebody put black on. I'll show you that on the other side over here. So why somebody would choose brown, I have no idea. That's definitely all got to come off. And I'm going to crawl up underneath so you can see where the keel is mounted, and then we'll show you the keel. Windows, you can see they still need some work. This all up here is old silicone. You can see the deck is really dirty all the way up forward. Obviously the wheels need to be redone. The trailer needs some work. Deck hardware is all in place. It's just really grimy. This is the original Phenolic sail tracks. Same thing with the winches. See all the mold and mildew on the paint, which was painted at some time in the past before I got it, over the gel coat, which means the gel coat underneath should still be in really good shape. Come around to the stern. Stern light was taken out, and all the the plywood is still nice and solid. You know how to make marine plywood back in the day, I'll tell you that. The motor trunk has been torn out some. The plywood's still in real good shape. Get that all rebuilt back up and combed back over, and the trim piece put back on. See some cutting and splitting in here. back up to the mast. There's the head. All the original Phenolic pulleys, blocks are in place. 5 horsepower motor. Really pushes the boat along good when it is moving. There's the chain plates for the backstay. Those were removed. You can see the rivets are all taken out. Lazarette. Alright, so I'm going to crawl up into the boat and we'll look inside and see what the inside kind of shape is. So I'm not going to embarrass myself by trying to climb up with the camera recording, so be back with you in a minute. Okay, so we're up in the main cockpit, looking forward. You can see all the mold and mildew on the mast. I'm standing on the lazarette. If you look inside, you can see the fuel cell. There's an old bilge pump that's seen better days, 4-way. This leads all the way forward to the port side bunk. And somebody used steel hardware on it, so everything's all rusted, so that's all got to come off and replace it with a proper hardware. Look down into the bathtub. You see it's all full of wood chips and leaves and a bunch of other crap. You can see the mold and mildew on the seats. And the teak is in really bad shape. All this entryway step is where there was a wood plate that was put there, and there was a winch that was bolted here, and the line ran through there for the keel. And this is the original placement of it. Get all that back to where it's supposed to be. Traveler, here's the line for the Traveler, which is definitely seen better days. There's the level, which is broken. There's the gang entry to the cabin and the top slide. This piece actually flips up when the mast isn't in the way, so it can actually go forward over the mast stout. There's a piece of teak missing over here on this side for the port side track. And if you look over here on the starboard side, you can see that one's still in place, but once again the teak is in really bad shape. The jam cleat there and a cleat. See the handrail on this side is pretty well rotted out completely. There's nothing salvageable there, so that's all going to be rebuilt. Alright, so to get in, push that like that. I won't go all the way forward yet. And then each one of the planks comes off. See if I let the camera adjust to the dark. You can see all the way forward. I have a thwart running across because the top was going to be pulled so we could actually do the inside work. Where the chain plates were originally mounted, that's where the thwart is attached. And here's the keel trunk. And you can see the rope that was pulled through, and this actually goes all the way down, attaches to the keel. And the keel slides up into that trunk right there. You can see there's all kinds of garbage and junk and crap inside of there. All the original plywood that was in here was cut out where the forward bunks were. You can see the line right about there where it was all cut out, and there was a set of shelves up here that ran all the way down. This is some of the trim that was inside the boat. And this over here is the spinnaker pole and the boom. Alright, my camera screwed up, so I'm going to re-record this section here. Finish up the tour of the inside. This is after the cleaning, so you can still see some water has decided to settle in and get that washed out. Forward part of the keel trunk. See, they got a plate bolted on or glued on. And you can see all the damage in the front there. And it's going to have to all be ground out. You see, when they put those plates on, they put the swing pivot bolt in, but there's no locking pin, which is why we have all the damage in the front there. So that didn't help. You can see all this is pretty nasty. It's like house paint. That's what they decided to put into it. I'm going to scrape all that stuff out. Some old loose fiberglass. This is one of the original shelves. Port side. See the rub rail there? It's underneath the cockpit. It's a through hole fitting there that water's supposed to drain out of the cockpit and in. You can see where the pop is topped there. That hole back there is the light mount for the stern. So those shelves have to come out. And then the other side. And right there's the rudder trunk. Starboard side. That aluminum piece right there is the rub rail. You can see the extra fiberglass over here on the front on the starboard side of the keel trunk. That's all in bad shape. But it's all fixable. It's going to take a lot of work. Another shelf over there on the starboard side. That's right here, some of the original trim that was inside the boat. I think that was on the forward shelves. We're above the V-berth. Alright. That's right, here's a plank that I made up that actually supports the forward end for lifting it off of the trailer. And I got another one over here for the aft end. Conforms to the bottom of the boat and can lift up on it. And some wheel chocks. And just looking out into the cockpit. We got some mud dauber nests. All the through hole fittings need work. Alright. So, next step, we'll start working on it. Okay, so here we are under the boat. It's facing forward. You can see the bunks right there. And there's a few blisters that are still in the hull. Once again, all that black and red bottom paint is under, so that's all got to be stripped off. A few blisters down there. Dings and holes. There's one right there, and that right there all the way down is the centerboard trunk. And there's that rope that we showed from the top coming down to hook onto the keel. You can see the keel is not in there right now. So let me scooch up underneath here some. There's the forward end, and you can really see the damage where it's been tried to repair over and over. And this is where the keel actually swings down and slams in to the bottom fiberglass here. And that's just in bad shape. It's going to be all ground out and completely rebuilt. I don't know if we can see up in or not. There's the pivot hole way up there. And the aft end. Alright, so I'll show you the keel here in a second. Alright, here we are on the aft end of the boat. Show you the keel. This was pulled out several years ago. And this is made of solid cast iron. 480 pounds. Quite heavy, especially to maneuver around. I've got it sitting on a furniture dolly right now just so I can roll it around. And you can see we have some splitting here. Somebody tried to fix it with some sort of resin or something. So we have to blast all this and get it put back into shape. There's some minor rust on it, but overall it's in really good shape. Here's the lifting point. Somebody wrapped a piece of wire around it a couple of times. You can see how it's worn through. Very thin spot. Find a better way to secure that. Up here on the top end, there's a swivel bolt that swings on, and this right here is the locking bolt. So once that's down, you're supposed to put this pin through so it can't swing back and forth and cause the damage that we looked at earlier. This right here is the trailing edge. It's also the upper edge that goes up into the trunk. Very, very thin. And then on the other side, it's forward edge. You can see it's very fat down at the bottom. That's where most of your weight is. You see where it hit a rock or something there. And very thin on top. You see it gets fatter and fatter as it goes along. That's the swing keel. It's quite a chore getting it out. It's going to be even more of a chore getting it back in. I have to do some rebuilding. It's always a challenge. Miscellaneous ropes and stuff. Most of it's garbage now. It's all mildewed. Anchor. Alright, so that's my Clipper Marine 21. And next step is to power wash it and give you another tour after it's kind of clean and see what we got. Alright, well, thanks for watching. Tune in for the next one.